Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Minding My Mental Health. I am Tanitria Williams, your licensed professional counselor and host of this wonderful broadcast. Thank you guys for joining. You know what I want you to do if you are watching us live. You will know you're watching us live because it will have live at the top of the screen. Go ahead and hashtag live, and also let me know where you're watching from. If you're not watching this live, that's okay. It's still great information. Hashtag replay, and again, let me know where you're watching from. I want you to help me out with some social media outreach. I want you to share this broadcast to your story, share this broadcast to pages that you are a part of. Tag a parent. If you have children, make sure you're tuned in. If you know some friends with kids, tag a parent because we're going to talk about a really important topic today. And I have an amazing guest I'm really excited to introduce to you all. But again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Share the video. Let's get into our discussion, right? So today I have my daughter's track coach, but also I call him my brother because we have been a part of the same university, part of the same church. We do life together, right? And so this is someone that I know and I trust, and he's going to give some really great information. One of the best to do it. When it comes to motivating children to be their best. So everybody give a warm round of applause, give hearts, give fire, say what's up to my brother, Coach Vaughn. I call him Ced, but we're going to call him Coach Vaughn today. Coach Vaughn, go ahead and we're so, I'm excited to have you here. So again, welcome. Tell us more about yourself, how you got into coaching, how you got into this field.
Yes, ma'am. Once again, thank you. I'm honored to be a part of this. Yes, we are family. We have been doing ministry and life together for a long time, since I think since 2001, as my brother Ralph put it. So since 2001, but I am honored to be on this platform and to share. So just a little bit about me, which I don't want to be too much about me. I started coaching. I started training back in 2008, 2009. Or officially started doing it. I was working with a couple of kids, but I started working at a place called D1 Sports Training out in West Little Rock, and just started training there. Just mainly working with youth, and something that was in my heart for a long time. So and the reason I started that is just because I ran track at the University of Arkansas and kind of got my background there, and just love working with youth, and love kind of wanting to be able to train and make people better. And so I started at D1 Sports Training. And shortly after starting at D1 sports training, I had it. I'm 2 years going to come in the background, so just bear with me. But I started training there, and then I also got on with Arkansas Baptist College. So I started a track program there at the at Arkansas Baptist College, and then at the same time I was working at D1 Sports Training, working with kids. So I work with college kids on one side of the spectrum, and then I work with my youth team at D1 Sports Training.
Okay. So you brought your athletic experience from your own running into all of those things. Did you struggle when you were an athlete being motivated or having self-doubt, all that kind of stuff? How did you overcome that for yourself? If so.
Well, so two different things. As far as being motivated, it was something that I love doing. So I think my motivation came from just me loving to
Mhm.
run, or to be there. So I don't know that I ever dealt with any doubt per se, because it was just something I loved. Now, did I think I was the best or anything like that? Absolutely not. But I love doing it. So I think that was more or less kind of my thing. It wasn't a task to practice, or none of that wasn't a task, because it was just something that I love doing.
Hmm. That makes sense. That makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. What about, well, we'll get into it. I don't want to get
Mhm.
into too deep. So today's topic, again, when we're talking about minding my mental health, we're always, the goal is to tear down the stigma of mental health treatment, but also to bring awareness to our communities. And one of the things that I see a lot of times, our kids, sometimes they may struggle, and it may affect if they're part of organizations, and they have a lot of doubt to overcome. Can I do
Mhm.
this? Just fear of not being the best, fear of messing up, fear of performance anxiety, all of those types of things. How do you, and then sometimes it's just literally the lack of discipline, right? So
Right.
sometimes those kids come, they may have natural talent, but they don't have the discipline. So as a coach, how do you instill discipline and motivation in the children who don't have that internal thing that you talked about, you had, that love, that
Right.
drive to just drive them?
So I think we kind of have to break it down to a couple of different things, and I get into the relationship of it and the identity of it in just a little bit. But I always say there are people, but they're little people, and what I mean by that is they got emotions. They think about stuff. They have ups and they have downs. So my first thing, I'm not trying to necessarily get them to run fast or to jump high or anything like that. I'm trying to get them to become a better person. Remember, they're people, they're just little people. So my thing is when they're coming in, they say, "Hey, I want to run, I want to train," or mom is saying, "Hey, that kid is fast." Whatever the case is, my thing is not listening to all of that. That's cool. I'm glad mom said that or dad said that. My thing is they're little people. What are that little person like? What are they not like? What are they lacking and all that? Then I can address all the other stuff. So my concept always, what I mean, a really talented kid or a kid that's not so talented, how do I make that person feel important? I promise you, if I can start there, I can get them to wherever they need to be. And so I don't know how it always works for every other trainer, every other coach, but my thing is they're little people. And if you can make little people feel important, you can get there. So I think that's the first side of, at least that's how I approach it. Uh, go ahead.
Okay, so realizing that they are human, that they have emotions, that they have their own life experiences that they're going through. I've heard you multiple times when a child messes up or
Mhm,
makes a mistake. You're telling them, don't focus on the mistake.
mhm,
Remember who you are. Say positive confessions. Like you are literally saying these things in the middle of training.
mhm.
What what helps, or how can you tell when a child starts to get it? How do they shift in their attitude, their behavior?
Yeah, and this, and so like I say, the first part is me recognizing who they are. The
Hmm.
second part is that relationship. Their relationship is based on simple. You got a mistake here, but I got 10 times more praise. So I'm always trying to think of this ratio in my mind. How many times did I correct them to how many times did I praise them? How many times did I love on them to how many times I had to get
Mm-hmm.
on them? And all those things. So what people are not seeing in my mind, I'm thinking how to build that person up. And so, or what are they lacking? And so let's say, let me just kind of give you an example without going too far. When a child comes into training, I speak to them. What am I doing? I am evaluating their day. Hey, how y'all doing? What's going on? So and so in my mind, I can just by them talking or whatever, or how they respond back to me, I already kind of getting the gist of what's going on. So let's just say that child is struggling that day, or no matter what's going on, I'm always like, okay, I feel like they're struggling. Let me remind them of, hey, there's a tomorrow, or hey, things are going to get better, or don't focus on this one thing because we got the rest of the day. Now, that relationship allows me to get direction in which way I need to go and how I need to motivate this particular child. One child I could smack on the head and be like, "Hey, boy, come on, keep playing." They're like, "All right, coach." They're like, "All right." Another child I may have to say, young lady, listen, what's going on? I care about you. And it may have nothing to do with track. And the fact that I said I care about you and what's going on would change that. And I think the shift comes in that. Like, so the result of the shift, you see them run fast or jump higher and everything like that. But the shift comes when they realize somebody cares about them, somebody cares about their day. So I normally recognize these shift for the most part, just in how they respond to me. If their head may be down or they may look like they're going to cry or something like that, and they'll look up like, yes, sir, I can do it, or someone else. So I know that shift in how they respond to a challenging situation. And for the most part, I can hold my hand. I know it's kind of, I'm really kind of show me what you got or whatever, kind of talk to me, and I can hold my hand out and they give me a five, you can give me a high five, and I know that a shift has happened and they're going to go back out there, they're going to try it again or whatever happened, they're going to redo it over and they can do it.
Yeah. So I hear a lot of the same tools and skills we use as counseling. A lot of
Mhm.
people say, well, you're just talking to somebody, but we build relationship with our clients. And so that relationship is so important to their
Mhm.
shifts and their breakthrough. Also, of course, you're coming with training yourself. Likewise, we're coming with some training. We're not just
Right,
random people that talk to you through a screen or in an office.
right.
We have training, but there's also a relationship. So when you have the skill on top of the relationship, you can see a lot of change and a lot of growth. So let's say you're talking to a parent and they're saying, I can't get my child to do things at home, or they don't show any initiative at home. They're complaining, they're lazy, they're whatever, fill in the blank. What advice would you give to help, I guess, parents to learn how to motivate and also instill some internal motivation into their children?
You said something that's key. You said there's training in what we do. So I consider I'm not the best, but I consider myself really professional at getting kids to become their best. So I literally say that, but that just doesn't happen. I have to literally teach myself how to make that happen. None of that stuff just happens on how I talk to a kid, how I motivate a kid. All of that stuff is how I practice. So in my mind, I would play out a scenario where a kid is not performing the way or they're not responding the way. I play out how I want that kid to go. So I play out how I'm going to respond. So I would tell a parent, most parents that have a kid and their child won't respond to them. Well, how often did you practice how you going to respond to your child when they don't do it? So in
Mm,
my mind, I'm always thinking, okay, if I tell this child, do X and they're not listening to me, how do I get that child to listen to me? It's not just about me and them responding to me. It's about I want to go. This child most likely in my mind want to do what I asked her to do, but they not just not responding the same way. So I am practicing how I want how I want me to respond to them responding. So it never just happens
mm,
any type of way. So I'm not practicing getting angry. I'm not practicing in my mind. If this kid do this one more time, I'm going to beat them. I'm never saying that. In my mind, it's like, hey, come on now, young man, you do this, you this, you this, you this. And so I would tell a parent, at the same time, are you living in a moment of disappointment or are you living in a moment of saying, hey, come on now, I know you're better than this. What do we need to do to get you to do X, Y, and Z? And I know that's kind of a different way of parenting. We kind of used to yelling at them and everything like that. I don't know that that gets results in the youth that I'm working with. Talking to my kids, letting them know that they matter and everything like that. Now, it's times where I got to get on. It's times when I got to fuss at them. But I've spent so much more time talking to them, making them feel important, making them
mm,
saying, hey, if you do X, this will make you successful. That when they don't do something that I want, it's more like, hey, you let yourself down. And I think it's a different approach than me saying, you didn't do what I asked you to do. And so even when my parents come to me and they're saying, hey, well, they're not listening at home, stuff like that, I say, okay, mom, bring them to me, or okay, dad, bring them to me. Let me deal with it. And they're like, well, you need to make them run. No, I don't. What I need to do is hear the Holy Spirit and deal with them in that way. And I need you to love on them. You brought them to me. Now let me do it. Let me love on them. And I think that love comes in different ways. But I always tell my parents, practice on how you approach stuff. I think I had a parent one time, before I get too far off. She came to me. She was at practice. I know she was listening and anything. And she was like, I need to work on that because I can't get them to watch this. And she was listening in the background. And she's like, man, if I could just do it, respond, get them to respond the way you do. And I was like, well, it's not that I don't feel the way that you feel when I ask them to do something. I don't focus on that feeling. I focus on them being an
mm,
excellent person, and my approach changes or whatever. So when I'm dealing with a kid, my approach always ends up changing because I'm thinking about the person of excellence that they are. Even though they're a little kid, I still think that they're a person of excellence. And so when I can kind of come from that direction, it keeps me from being, in a place of anger or a place of frustration
mhm,
or whatever. Now we're all adults, so we're gonna have some disappointment and things like that. But I always tell my parents, like, back up. When you 6 before, when you 8 before, when you 12, sometimes we are 34, 35, 50 years old, still making some of the same mistakes.
mhm,
I like get in the same grace, So like I said, I do get a lot of parents and I could hear them yelling and I can see when that kid cower down and I'll let it go
mhm,
for like once or twice. And then I look up, mom, dad, I got it. And I hate to do it, but sometimes I have to like, hey, you're pushing the kid down instead of building the kid up. All I need you to do is clap and whatever. And then sometimes I talk to the parents, and that's the other side of it. I do talk to parents.
mhm,
I try to develop a relationship with them where I can say, hey, your job is to be mom. My job is to be coach. They don't want a coach at home and a coach at track practice. They never do that. I've never met a kid that literally wanted dad to coach them at practice and dad to coach them at home. They literally want their dad at home. They want their mom at home.
mm.
And so me seeing that is like that's why I try to be excellent at what I do because I need to be excellent so you guys can go home and be excellent parents.
Okay, so what I think I heard was you actually spend time visualizing how you are going to stay calm when the kids are doing things outside of their true nature, like when they are either not giving their best or whatever, and you're visualizing, how do I want to stay calm? um, the other thing, of course, was again the relationship, and you've talked a lot about building them up more than the corrective part, and just
Mhm.
complimenting. How valuable do you think that is, speaking, I guess, those positive words to the kids?
I don't think it's there's a lot of great trainers and coaches out there. There's a lot of good people out there. If you can't put that together,
Mm,
I don't think you're going to have any success. If I can't get on a kid and then come back and talk just like that to that same child, I'm out of bounds. So I have to visualize doing that. So, today I was at training and I got on the kid and I said, come on now. And I literally went up to him, talked to him like this. And so then he came back, hey, coach, well, what I need to do? And I knew that I had him where I needed to be at
mm,
because one, he knew that I wasn't angry because I could get on him, got his attention. Or what I got on him, he ran, I talked to him, and then he came back to talk to me. Well, now I know I got a good relationship with him because he knows the difference between coaching and fussing. So I'm always seeing myself talking to kids more. I don't ever see myself fussing at them and stuff like that. Now there are times where I have to do that. I have to get on the whole group, but for the most part, probably I would say at least 80% of the time, I'm talking just like this.
mhm,
Or I pull a kid aside and I pull that kid aside, pull that kid aside. So if you ask me how important it is, I would say it's like air. It's like
mm,
oxygen or whatever. Like you cannot live without it. I cannot get those kids to be whoever they are. I tell parents, if you come to me, it's not because I advertise, because somebody told you that I was good. If I'm
mhm,
good at it, it's because I believe that I bring the best out of the kids. If I believe it, it's because I visualize bringing the best out of the kids. So I think that's and it's not about me. I think it's a God given gift or whatever. I just embrace the fact that I am good at something that God gave me to do or whatever. So it's a difference between me being cocky and anything like that. No, I just believe that every kid that's in front of me got to download what I need for that kid that particular moment, or whether or not I always be instant in it, but I always stay at the same time. I'm always praying and thinking in my mind, what do I need to do to make this child become what they need to
mhm. Well, I'm going to go ahead and toot your horn, since you're talking about you're not trying to be cocky. You really are one of the best I've ever seen, because I've been around youth coaches, and sometimes they are literally out there cursing the kids. They
be.
are yelling, they are tearing them down. They are having temper tantrums themselves, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I just, when I see you out there coaching them up and not tearing
Mm-hmm.
them down, when I see you out there doing that, that makes me just excited that you're walking in, like you said, your God-given gift. But it's also a safe place that I know my child's not going to come back with, you know a beat down and all of that. And I still know you're going to correct when it needs to be corrected. So I think that's really amazing. So how do you coach a child with a lot of talent but low discipline versus a child with less talent in that sport but highly motivated, ready to learn? What's the difference in approaches with that?
Well, I think you said something that's key. You said safe place. A safe place has got to happen no matter what. Super talented, not talented. Bad attitude, good attitude. Safe place. To me, I mean, you say that, but I literally tell parents, hey, it's a safe place or whatever. The safe place means it's okay for your bad attitude child to come to me because I have a God given ability to deal with your child with the bad attitude. I have a God given ability to deal with your child that's very talented but lack of motivation. They got talent, but they'll mess up. And so me creating a safe place makes it easy for me to go in and say, all right, you're talented, but I need to hone you in and teach you how to focus. I
Mm,
got this, I got a 15-year-old kid. He's 15. So he's a typical 15-year-old boy, but he's super talented. Nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with the fact that he's out of focus, because it's my job to
Mm,
get him in focus. So every day I'm bringing him back in. Sometimes I got to get on his butt. Sometimes I got to talk to him this way. Sometimes I got to pull him to the side. So, it's kind of like that iceberg. People see a little bit above the
mhm,
water. It's a whole bunch below the water. I do a whole bunch of the below the water stuff. So you guys get to see that pretty thing that's above the water or whatever. So when
mhm,
it comes to, let's say I get a kid, and I have this a lot. I have really talented kids, low self-esteem, low discipline, low just say low something that's not helping them
mhm,
become who they need to be at. My thing is, I literally go in and praise them on all the good things and say, hey, now let's work on this right here. I had a young lady, and she literally said to me the other day, she was riding home with me. Or she said, I hadn't got a bad attitude with over a year. The fact that she knew
wow.
that, the fact that she knew that, I almost want to reach over and give her a hug and say, "Hey, I'm glad that you know that you're
Mhm,
working on that." And she's like, "I don't get bad attitudes with people." I was like, "Man, I love you so much for your growth in that." Well, I mean, it took time. Me and
mhm,
mom and everybody else took time working through that. Hey, why do you have a bad attitude? Why are you here? And I'm just going to use that as an example because I want people to
mhm,
catch this and know how to work through it. Well, I couldn't get upset with her getting a bad attitude. And I literally despise people having a bad attitude for me trying to correct you or me wanting to give you something. But I was stopped. What's wrong? Why do you? And they couldn't necessarily word it out
mhm,
why they had a bad attitude. And so I would try to just why it and ask the question like, don't you want to do this? Don't I'm telling you why we want to do this, and it would work them through to where I wouldn't let them stay in a angry place. So just for an example, she ran a bad race and she was upset. And I sat there and I didn't talk to her about the bad race. I talked to her about, hey, I want to coach you up and I want to make you better. Let's process through the emotions of it. So
mm,
if I had to kind of break it down, I cannot get in a place where I am letting your emotions and your upsetness affect me, and now I can't be a better coach. Now I can't be a better mentor and stuff like that. So my breakdown when I'm dealing with that is why you feel this way, where you do, why
mhm,
we here. Same thing with, let's just say you got high talent but low confidence. Well, why don't you
mhm,
believe that? Well, I haven't spent enough time telling you who you are, giving you your identity.
mm,
So I had to spend a lot of time doing that. Now I know that's a lot of it's like, man, that's outside of coaching. No, it's not. Because to me, coaching and training is a part of making them a bigger person, a better person.
mhm,
So coaching is just one of the elements in there, and training and all this stuff is just one of the elements in there. So my thing when I'm trying to make someone get to where they need to be at, I'm always going back saying, hey, you know what, you are a person, your feelings matter. Why are we feeling angry? Why do you have this attitude?
mhm,
Why do you have this low self-confidence? And then I'm just doing the work, or we're doing the work. I say I'm doing the work, but we're doing the work. Now that does not mean that they would not make a mistake. That does not mean that it might not happen again. It means that I have to visualize when they do make a mistake, how I'm going to respond. How I'm
mhm,
going to respond to that parent who's upset that they made another mistake. And I'm like, hey, y'all got to calm down. I'm like, listen, we working through this. It's not like we messed up. She didn't mess up last week. She messed up this one time. So chill out. Let's work through it.
mhm,
And so I'm doing all of that at the same time. And I think with time, you turn around and you be like, man, you're a beautiful young person. And what I mean by that is like, dude, you're becoming everything that God wants you to
right.
be or whatever. And you're just 16. Imagine what God is going to do with you in 5 more years or 3 more years. And
Mhm.
so in my mind, I'm always thinking about that or whatever. So I'm always thinking about who they're going to become when they get those issues worked through.
So I heard two things. Number one, as parents, we have to be willing to calm our own emotions and not get pulled into our kids' emotions, which as a
Yes.
parent, I know how easy it is to get pulled into
Yes, ma'am.
their stuff, right? You're like, wait a minute, so
Right,
I
right,
know
right,
it's real easy for us to get pulled in. So the first thing I heard was the importance of us doing our own work so that we can separate, okay, she rolled her eyes, but I don't have to internalize that.
right,
I can simply correct that behavior without it sending me, or so those types of
right.
things. And then of course the spending time with the compliments, with building them up, not just random compliments, but
Right, right.
real, genuine, hey, I see the growth here, and then spending time to hear what they're saying. So I think
Mhm.
those are good things. If this is helping you guys, make sure you put a one in the comment. Um, and let us know. Go ahead, or before I continue, let me know what you've learned so far from Coach Vaughn. He's bringing some really great insight and some knowledge. I think that will help a lot of parents, help hopefully even coaches who are watching. If you know some coach friends, go ahead and tag them too, because I think again, this approach is very different from again what you see a lot with youth sports and with
Yes, ma'am.
youth in general, right? So let me ask you this: what
Mhm.
mindset do you think you have to come against or challenge the most when you're coaching and training?
Identity, lack of identity. And you could break that identity down to a couple of different things. As far as confidence, or am I going to be mad? I remember you taught something like God is not mad anymore. So kids they grow up in different environments, which you understand. And so a kid can have just they don't know who they are. Well, what does that mean? What does them not know who they are? Well, I think I'm supposed to respond with attitude. I think I'm supposed to, be mad. I think I'm
Mm,
supposed to be angry. I don't have you know, I got a child that let's say the parents are there, but they're not there or whatever.
mhm,
So that child is missing love and attention and embracement, and what I mean by that is, do you embrace me when I fail? And
mm,
and that's a difference. I can be a top and everybody embrace me, but when I fail, everybody, like, if I mess up, I know I messed up, but I still want to be loved. So I have to look at it, all of that. And so my biggest thing is I had a young man and a young lady that I have to be like, good job. Knowing they didn't do a good job is not a lie. It's, hey, good job how you handled that situation, how you handled this failure right here. Good
mm,
job on how you dealt with this right here. And then I say, but we got to work on this right here. We got to work on our arms. I like how you got out right here. Now let's work on this. That's a whole new different embracement then.
mm,
Man, you messed up that whole race. You did this right here. Even when I'm at a track meet, I can hear parents saying stuff. I was like, that's my job. They're like,
mm,
you didn't do. I was like, that's my job. Your job was to clap them from that start line to that finish line. And that's it. That's what your job is. I don't care about you get mad. I don't care about, because you didn't run the race. At the end of the day, they're hot.
mm,
They're out there. You didn't do any of that stuff or whatever. So yes, I seen what you seen. They didn't give the best effort, but that is not your job. I spent all this time, but you went out there in the hot sun. They was out there in the hot sun. So let me deal with it, and you support them, whatever way you can. Now I get that. That's hard. Like, I'm out here and I'm spending this time and money, but the kid is going through way more. I guarantee you that child is going through way more than what you think. And so I always try to make sure that my parents and the child understand it's a process. I mean, I think your daughter started a year ago.
mhm.
This time last year. Now the girl, I was actually looking at a video of Brielle when she started. Is that okay to say her name?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I was looking at a video when she started. I was like, dude, look at her now. I was literally looking at a video because it came across my Facebook memories. I was like, look how she looked now. Look how she's getting all these different things. Well, some people will look at, let's say, oh, well, she didn't win this gold medal, and they don't see the results. I
Mhm,
see all the results of every child. So my thing is, whatever results I see, I'm talking about and I'm compliment. So
mhm,
the biggest mindset issue is them, or is other people, them themselves, but other people not seeing the results. So they're down on themselves. They're hard. Their identity is built on somebody else's opinion, or mom and dad opinion, or the world's opinion. And I have to fight all of that. I'm not saying I have to fight it, but it's
mhm,
something that I have to combat. I had to combat. I got a young lady that's on my team now, or whatever. And literally, I was, I don't know. I was training one day about 3-4 months ago. I was training, and I noticed her in the corner of my eye. And God was like, "Yeah, check on her." And I was like, she all right, she cool. Holy Spirit says, Cedric. I said, all right. I stopped practice, let somebody else do something. I went up there, talked to her and everything like that. And I mean, just from that talk, we have an amazing relationship now, but she's also doing amazing. But it's like I had to stop, hear God. And I think she was going through some things or something, may have not been going right at school that day or whatever. But it was just a point of me making sure she got better. And I wasn't training her that day, but she was with another group of people. But me
Mm,
taking that time, so that's the stuff that people don't see that I have to fight. Now I don't know what all went on in school, but those are the mindsets that I had to overcome, and I had to get her to overcome those things. I had to get her to see that. Now I'm saying that because everybody see this beautiful young child now, but that process was months.
mhm.
Months. I talked to her one day, and I'm telling you, we was going through months or whatever. And but now she's literally the one that helped me out with other kids,
Mm,
whatever. So, and that's what you really want at the end of the day. The gold medals and all this stuff is cool, but at the end of the day, what you really want is your kids leading and guiding other kids and stuff like that. I always tell my kids, this thing right here, you cannot pay your mom back, you cannot pay your dad back, you can never pay them back. The best thing you could do is become a good person and help other people out, because
mm,
you're never going to do enough to pay them back. But what you can do is do the best with everything they gave you. And I teach them that. And I think that right there is the bigger payoff than anything. Like, I don't need your money back. I need you to just be successful, make the world a better
mhm.
place. You do that, we'll be fine.
What happens when you look at your kid and you can tell they are depressed or having feelings of depression, I should say. They are feeling anxious. They are feeling, um, inadequate. All of those things. How do you, I guess, how do you address that?
So, so, so I have to kind of go back because I think it's a little bit different. I have people that I have a tribe. I have people that make me a better husband, make me a better father, make me a better person, or whatever. So you ask, how do I address that? I have to be somebody that has somebody that's accountable in my life. I have
Mhm,
people that speak over me, that speak to me, that can correct me and stuff like that. So my brother Ralph, your husband Kevin, all of those people are people that literally come into my. I'm explaining why that's important. They can come into my life and tell me, hey, this is wrong, this, and this. That correction helps me deal with a person in depression and stuff like that. Well, how does that work? Well, I get people that tell me how to talk to people, how to talk to my wife,
mm,
how to do this, how to do all those different things, what makes me a better person when it comes to the kids. So the first thing I do is I have to have somebody to speak to me. So yes, I pray. Yes, I got a great relationship with the Holy Spirit, so I hear the Holy Spirit daily. But the other thing that I have to have is I have to have people that I'm willing to listen to and I'm willing to talk to about. So one day you may be walking on the track and I may talk to you about what I'm feeling or
mm,
whatever. I have to have a release in order for me
right.
to be helpful to the kids. So that's the first side of it. Then when I get to a child, go play, baby. So then when I get to a child that I can see, because you like I say, my first thing when I do, I'm talking to every kid. You don't notice it, but I'll speak to every kid. I don't care if they sneak on the track somehow. I'm going to speak to them and find out, because that is my way of finding out what's going on with them.
Mhm,
When I run into that, I can take all of the different tools. If you have talked to me before, if someone else, I can pull from all of that stuff,
mm,
and I can say, hey, how do I deal with this particular here? This particular situation. This young man is feeling down. This, no, they got hurt. Let's say I got an injury. Let's make it a real world thing. Kid, they're running. They're at the top of the game. They got hurt. When you get hurt, it's not just physical. It literally messes with your mind to a point to where you don't know if you can do it again. You don't know if you're going to get back full speed. It just messes
mhm,
with you a little bit. So you have to go in and repair that part right there. So I
mhm,
had to go in and say, hey, you still there? You're going to do this. You're going to do this. I got a kid that was running, broke his shoulder,
mm,
fractured his shoulder really bad. Walked him out. This was at the beginning of the season. Oh, well, he's back running full speed right now. How did he do that? Well, we got God, and we believed, and I prayed and everything like that. But I also talked to him every day. Hey, you get out here
mhm,
and hang out. You get out here. Don't sit at home. Don't sit at
mm,
home. Do not sit at home. You come to practice. I told his mom, he's gonna come to practice. He's gonna hang out. He's gonna help other kids. What was I doing? I was preparing his mind mentally to be out there. I did not
yeah,
want him to feel like, hey, I've been out of the loop. I've been out of this all the time.
mhm,
Made him come to the track meets. Made him hang out. Today, boy, ran fast or whatever. And I know that the healing process is not just the running. the mental process of trying to get them to get through the depression is a lot of times I just need to get them out there in the environment. I
Mm,
talked to one of my parents, their father passed or whatever. It was really hard on the young lady, and I said, "Hey, come hang out with us. Come hang out with us. What am I doing? I know if I get the young lady to be out here with us, my family that I built in this environment, I say I built it, but it's a combination of everybody. But the environment that we have is healing. Is healing in it. And so I can walk her through that real life, real deal depression
mhm.
and stuff like that. We can walk through it, but I gotta get you out of that room. I got to get you out of that dark place of being by yourself or whatever. So if I can do that, we can walk through stuff. So I don't think it's a hard process, but it's two things. I have to mentally and visually, get forward.
Mhm.
And then I had to get to a point to also to where I could get them to a point to where they're going to be safe and they're going to grow up. So I never deal with a depression situation. I'm sorry if I'm being long, but I never
No, you got time.
I never deal with a depression situation by myself. It looks like that, but I'm
Mm,
really pulling on other people, talking to other people. I may talk to you about it. Somebody may tell me something. I may talk to you or
mhm.
whoever it may be or whatever, and talk to them about what's going on or whatever. And then I may have some feedback, and I don't need to tell you a name or anything. And I can go right back to that student after
Right.
it's important to them. So it's a process, but at the end of the day, that child is smiling now. I can show you, and you can know it. You're walking around this thing, you're seeing people and everything like that. Most of those children have went through something, but you can't
Mhm.
tell because of how we're trying to heal. I mean, yeah, we're going to practice, but at the end of the day, somebody's going through something and we're working through something together.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
what would you say to another coach who says, I recognize that I haven't been building my program in that way? If you
Mhm.
could give them like some steps or some blueprint of how do you build a program that is focused on building the child, I guess, first, or building their confidence, their self-esteem, how what kind of steps would you tell a coach who wants to kind of replicate what you've done with your team?
Again, it's the community accountability tribe concept. I am one person. I am bound to make a mistake. But with other people around me, if I can have some accountability and some transparency or whatever. So it came from I believe that I'm awesome at what I do. I believe that I am one of the best in the world at what I do. But I am only that because of the people that I have behind me. And
Hmm.
so I always say, if you want to build a great program, you need to have somebody that can kind of correct you, that can
Hmm.
tell you what to do. It may be one person, maybe two or three people, it may be a group of people or whatever, but you need to have some people there to help guide and lead you. I got a couple of different coaches that I'm leading and guiding and stuff like that. The one thing I don't mind giving them everything I got, but you got to be able to listen to me. You got to be able to take that
Hmm.
correction. Do I know it all? No, but I need you to be able to do that. So starting with self, it's got to be internal first. Then you can start with building a program out of your representation, because whatever's inside of
Hmm.
you is going to come out. If you get mad and you cuss, you get mad. All of this stuff is inside of you. How do
Hmm.
I respond to a kid that just ticked me off and all of this stuff? I wasn't mad at that kid. I wasn't really upset at that kid. So that's how I can respond to them in love, because
Hmm.
I focus on them being an awesome person. Now there are kids that like just take me down through there, but at the end of the day, I talk to somebody, release that, and I see that kid the next day. I love on them. I mean, and there's several times somebody asked me, "They ever coming back?" I was like, "Well, they got some work to do." I don't never say, because it's not my job to throw a kid away. If
Hmm.
God giving that kid, it's never my job to cut them off or whatever. Now, a kid can walk away, but it's never my job to cut them off, because God has never told me that I could do that or whatever.
Hmm.
What I have is a situation where God can be like, "Hey, release them so they don't poison somebody else." But
Hmm.
normally, most of the time, they always come back. They all so I just have to be a person that I'm going to listen to God, and I'm going to hear God on things and
Hmm.
hear the people that God put in my life. That right there has probably for the last, I would say, 12 to 13 years, end up taking what was just a small training group into a family, to an oral organization, because they're CCV training, And then there's also I'm sorry, my 2-year-old is playing or whatever. So please forgive me. But there's CCB training, but there's also my Fellowship of Champions track family. That family has grown and become what it is because I've had people in my life to
Mhm.
help guide me to where it has become that. So now the kids, I have young people, I have a young man named Taylor. He comes back, and sometimes I try to pay him, I try to offer him anything. Taylor come back and just give back just
Mhm.
because he felt like I gave him a lot or whatever. And that's what I want. I just want those people not necessarily coming back to give me, but to give and
Mhm.
pour out love to everybody else. So that's kind of the process that I'm doing. That's the process that I would tell and everybody kind of tweak it a little bit different. But if I had anything to tell my younger coaches, it's always, hey, young man, listen, you need people to speak to you. You need people to guide you. You need people to kind of show you all the different things or
Mhm.
whatever, not just with training, but
Mhm.
how to deal with people. As a male coach, and I know this may be a little bit off subject, but one of the things that I tell, come here, baby, come here, 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 don't now, no, come here, hey, chill out, dad on daddy's shoulder. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but one of the
Hey,
things that
we understand.
that one of the things that I tell my coaches, let's say I'm a male coach and we have female athletes. So I have to frame them and teach them how to deal with that situation
Mm.
because it's always about protecting the girls and then protecting themselves. So when my kids are so when my kids are doing stuff, I'm always saying, how do I make sure that when this young lady is dealing with me, she's talking to me, and she's missing something and she's
Mhm.
looking for something incorrectly. Well, I got to teach guys how to deal with that. So I teach my
Mm.
my 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 male coaches, hey, you got 12 young ladies. You're going to run into every different dynamic. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with my girl with low shorts on, my girl with low self-esteem, my girl that's happy all the time, my girl that likes to hug? How do you deal with all those different things? And
Mhm.
so I got to teach them same thing with my ladies. How do you deal with all that stuff? And so you want to build a successful program, you have to deal with those inner issues because you got inner issues. You're gonna fall. You're
Yeah.
going to fall. I mean, it's no doubt about it. You're going to make a mistake just because there's too many things out there in the world that
Mhm.
can kind of throw you off. They can throw your kids off and so on or whatever. So one of the things I always say, I've never lost a kid. And I don't mean I have never lost a kid. I mean what God has put in my life has helped me never lose a kid.
Mm. So what I heard from you is create a team that makes you better, number one, and
Mm-hmm.
then a team that is coachable and teachable themselves so that you can teach them how to respond in a healthy way for these kids, um, and again working on themselves. So I think that's the work for the parents as well. Like we
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, we have to do the internal work of, why did I get so upset because my child did this? Why did
Yes.
it bother me so much that she got upset about this? Or and sometimes it's fear based, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look, and my husband and I will talk about it. Sometimes we'll see something in the girls, and our initial response is, I want to stop that right now because I could see if that behavior continues, it could
Mm-hmm.
be problematic in the future. So our response can come from, I better stop. I gotta, and so you can start responding from this place of fear, right? But the more work you do yourself, you can see it but not have to necessarily respond from fear, just responding from, hey, it's a good thing I saw it now because I can start correcting it now. And that's a different internal response, and it's going to produce a different external response.
Well, I like what you said. So, and I see that a lot of my kids, where I see something showing up or something that's showing up, even with my baby. And so, one of the things is I'm always thinking like, well, I was 16 and I turned out to be an okay father, okay coach, or whatever the case is, or whatever. So I was like, but what are some of the things I could have used? What are some of the tools I could have
Mm,
used to do better? Like I said, I think one of the things that you taught years ago was God ain't mad anymore. Well, what was my defense mechanism? What was my thing? Anger. So I always operated in that mad anger thing
mm,
or whatever. So now when I see it, which I'm glad I got free from it, but now when I see it, I know I do not respond to them with anger. I respond to them with saying, "Hey, I talk to them things like that." So even with my parents and other coaches, when you're responding to something, Ray, I hate to say it, but that's something inside of you that you need to deal with. When you
mm,
get upset, You got that issue and you seeing it and it makes you mad. I'm like, you got to deal with that. I think I had a parent and we was talking. We got a pretty good relationship, and she was like, "You're right, Coach Vaughn." I was like, now look, I got to tell you, you was kind of wrong for talking to them that way.
Mm.
She's like, yeah, you're right, Coach Vaughn. I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't apologize to me. Talk to your kid. I like apologize to your, hey, I like, you got to apologize to him because what you did is you had something that happened early on in your life and this turned that, and you're responding to them in a certain way. Like I think I was talking to a parent and the child was doing awesomely wonderful, but they wasn't doing maybe a couple of tasks at home. But you're responding to them or you're treating them like they were some type of slave instead of, hey man, you're an awesome person, but I need you to help me with taking the trash out. That's a different response.
Hmm.
Like, hey, your task is doing X, Y, and Z. My thing is, I talked to the kids. I think they were leaving. And I said, hey, we all use them hurdles. I need everybody to help me take that stuff up. Then extra people came back down to help.
Hmm.
So instead of just one or two people, or we're leaving, I was like, listen, if we all do something, everybody do a little piece. I even tell kids, some of the kids will run out, try to help me pick up equipment and stuff. One of the approaches is, hey, if everybody picked up one hurdle, we got it,
Hmm.
and so one kid was trying to do all the hurdles. I said, it doesn't make sense. Stop, put the hurdles down. And I would literally correct that in front of everybody. Put them hurdles down. You came over here and collected them up on your own. Everybody else that is standing over there, come on, you guys, y'all come help. Well, what am I doing? I am building a family. I am building, hey,
Hmm.
no one person should be doing all this at the same time. And I'm teaching them, hey, I brought it down. The least y'all can do is get it up. Well,
Hmm.
apply that at home. Hey, I cook the food. Come on, guys, y'all. At least y'all can help me with cleaning the kitchen.
Hmm.
I think it's a different approach than saying wash the dishes right now. And I'm not tell people how to parent their home or anything like that. But I think I get a lot more done when I let them know that y'all own this team, y'all own the hurdles, y'all are the part of the team. Matter of fact, the team doesn't go right until y'all do what's better.
Hmm.
So I think that gets me a lot more further. Now um, I'm talking in a way that, but I didn't know all this at first. This is
Hmm.
experience. This is time. This is me regulating myself. This is me getting corrected.
Right.
This is me getting corrected by Pastor Sean or Pastor Elvin or Ralph telling me something or Kevin telling me something. So I'm saying all of this, but this is also many people speaking to me and me learning how to speak to them and get that across at the same time.
What I heard from you, you mentioned the word ownership. What I heard was creating a sense of family teamwork. We all do our part so that you have less resistance because they want to do that, and I think that's good. I'm learning from the conversation. I'm sure a lot of parents, go ahead again, put some comments in there if you're learning something, what you're learning, how you can grow as a parent, how we can build these kids up, because ultimately that's what we want to do. The summertime is a time that we get to be with our kids probably a bit more than we are during the school year. And for a lot of parents, it's overwhelming, or they get to see a lot of stuff that maybe they didn't see as much
Yeah.
during the school year when the kids were at school so many hours. And so being able to see some of those things, we wanted to talk about how do you motivate your kids? How do you do those things? Because I think that does impact their mental health. If we're constantly having to fuss, if we're constantly having to do all those things, it can wear on the parent, it can weigh heavy on the kids, right? And so I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you. I appreciate your approach to all of this. Tell me more about how someone, if they were interested in being a part of your training, what would someone need to do? Tell us how they could get in contact with you or learn more about your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a social media page on Facebook. It's actually just dedicated to the kids or whatever. But I have CCV training, so you can find me there and find out information, everything like that. You can email me, message me there, and I'll definitely respond. So you can get that, and I will from there I can give you my phone number, so on, so on. But yeah, so that's probably one of the main ways you can find me. I'm also always doing something with the kids. So I always say, just continue to message me if I don't respond. But for the most part, that's probably one of the best ways to get in contact, to join us. I can tell you pricing and all those cool things and times and training things and everything like that. Like I say, it's speed training, it's agility training, it's teaching them how to be explosive and all those things. But at the same time, I need you to become a better person as you become a better person, or
Yeah.
whatever. So I call them student athletes, and I always tell my parents the student becomes before the word athlete, and I literally mean that, because my students need to be great at what they do.
Hmm.
Athletes need to be excellent at what they do, and so I'm always preaching, have a spirit of excellence. But that comes with me trying to operate in excellence, and it also comes with me being that actual person. I cannot
Hmm.
tell them,
Yeah.
go train out in the sun, and I'm not out there in the sun or whatever. So I always try to become that person. I can't tell them to not, not to be mean to each other, and I'm being mean to them. And so if they want to join, well, just kind of know that, yes, they're going to get faster. Yes, they're going to jump higher. They'll be more flexible. But you can get that anywhere. What I'm trying to do is make them better as they get better.
Hmm. And I think that's again, that's one of the things that distinguishes, in my opinion, the way you coach.
Mhm.
um, it kind of reminds me of how people respond when Deion Sanders, how he responds to his players. It's
Yes,
very
ma'am.
different than sometimes you look at the sideline and you see coaches,
Right.
being irate, and then you hear some of the things that from the sideline. And so I think there are coaches out there that have a distinct philosophy that really does focus on the child
Hmm.
the child's growth, as opposed to just their physical ability. So again, thank you everybody. Give it hearts, give fire for my brother, Coach Cedric Vaughn. Amazing, amazing. I'm going to share a couple of announcements before we end. Of course, you guys know, if you are in need of some coaching or counseling, if I know you personally, I can help you find somebody. If I don't, if you're looking for somebody, let me know. You can shoot me an email at tenitria@gmail.com, and I will respond back to you. Or you can call the office number at 470-410-9790. Again, if you're needing coaching, counseling, if you say, I'm one of those parents that maybe need to do some of this internal work that he's talking about, because I do find myself staying angry, or not being able to appreciate my child, or maybe I just know I got a lot of stuff that I just need to work through, go ahead, give me a call. I would love to work with you. I would absolutely love that. The other announcement is, you guys know I've been talking about it for a while now. I am about to start a new cohort with the Wholeness Path. Now, the Wholeness Path is really something that God gave me. I guess about 6 months ago, a little over 6 months ago, and it is a 6-month program designed for women who are ready to find love, but they either are terrified of getting heartbroken again, they are um, not confident in their ability to choose a good partner, because in the past they've not chosen the best partners, or um, they have some trauma sometimes that need healing. So all of those types of things, right? Or maybe they just kind of said it's not important, they lied to themselves and said they didn't want it when they really 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 did want it, right? So this program is designed to help women work through um, that hurt, work through that the fear, all of those things, and become whole, healed people, so that when beautiful love shows up, when healthy love shows up, that their heart is open to receive it. And this is not just something I talk about from a clinical perspective, though I definitely talk from a clinical perspective. I talk about it from my own experience, because I had to go through a healing journey after getting divorced, and really preparing my heart to be able to love again. And so, if you are interested in that, reach out to me. The next cohort for the Wholeness Path starts actually I'm sorry, not this Tuesday, next month, Tuesday, July the 2nd. So it's the first Tuesday and the third Tuesday of every month. We have class at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, let me know if you want that. I can send you the link. I can give you more insight about pricing and everything like that. Again, thank you guys so much. Don't be strangers. We're going to be right back here next Thursday with more Minding My Mental Health. We're going to let Coach Vaughn go. I know he has a lot of stuff to do, but we're going to say thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us, Coach Vaughn. Well, as this is airing, hopefully people will see it, and anybody who's worked with you, I've literally never heard anybody who's ever had their children work with you or has ever worked with you say something negative about how you coach those kids. And so again, kudos to you for having a great reputation. Kudos to you for making a difference in the lives of those young people. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys here next Thursday. Bye-bye.